Hello my friends, how are you doing today? I hope your day's going well, and we are going to kick this video off with some new Ulta makeup. Actually, that's the whole video. I'd recently done a bit of an Ulta haul. I was waiting for something to come in that Nabla palette that I used in the video on brands I was missing out on, but along with that, I just didn't order one thing. I looked at some other new stuff that I was really interested in trying, and that is here, so I thought I would use that stuff today. It's not going to necessarily amount to a full face, so I will be drawing in some other products as needed, but it's definitely a high-end and drugstore mix. First off, I saw that e.l.f. has a new primer. They're doing a Power Grip primer. It's, of course, their take on the very popular Milk Hydro Grip. I've already tried a drugstore sort of alternative or dupe to that, which is from Hard Candy, and that one works really well. I'm very happy with that, but we're going to test this one out as well and see if it's similar. This definitely feels a lot like the Milk one to me, although it's been a little while since I've used that true sort of pioneer product of that kind. It feels very tacky all over the face. The idea here is that you have kind of that sticky finish, and then it helps your makeup stay on longer on top of it. I've used this one once and had pretty good results with it, although I definitely don't think that's the whole story. You definitely have to use something more than once to really understand it. It says allow 30 seconds to set before applying makeup, and you will notice that as it sits on your skin a little bit more, it loses a little bit of its stickiness. Your skin still feels super duper hydrated, but not maybe quite as sticky as it was immediately after you put it on. The one from Hard Candy that I was talking about, though, that I've had amazing results with is called the Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer 12-Hour Makeup Grip. This one, gosh, it feels like it's almost out. I have really enjoyed this, so maybe over time here I can kind of figure out which one's the very best. And then I wanted to try the new Tarte Shape Tape Cloud Coverage, and it says broad spectrum SPF 15 sunscreen. I have it in 20B light beige. They say light as air, medium to buildable coverage. Bouncy cloud-like texture, feels comfy and weightless. It's supposed to have a natural matte finish and look like skin. Same kind of packaging as like an IT Cosmetics CC cream. We have the pump, and I noticed they had a brush on Ulta's website that they were kind of trying to sell along with this, but it just seemed to be sort of a dense, possibly angled foundation brush, so I just thought I could use my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush and probably get the same effect. So I'm going to give myself one full pump of this. So far, texture seems like just a lot like a traditional liquid foundation that's not too runny, It kind of holds its shape after you pump it out. And now we're just gonna blend that around and see what kind of coverage we get. I've been doing a little experimenting with this, and it's gone well. I wouldn't say that this foundation has me like over the moon with how beautiful it is on the skin, It is medium coverage. It does have that natural look as described. Once I get it applied, I'm like, okay, skin definitely looks more even than when I started, but am I thinking, oh my gosh, it's so much better than, say, like this one that I used recently as well. I was kind of comparing the two in terms of like, what kind of coverage do I get? What kind of look do I get overall? I feel like when you pair this one with that e.l.f. gripping primer, you might get a little more dewy look on the surface of the skin. So do pay attention to what kind of primer goes underneath. If you're using something more smoothing, anything that claims to be poreless or mattifying, then I think that could lend this product to looking more matte on the skin. Right now it's looking kind of dewy and hydrated, which is all right. I would totally agree with that medium coverage level. When they say light as air, like, I don't know, if it was gonna be light as air, I would expect an even thinner consistency going on my skin. To me, it just feels very much like traditional foundation vibes, Like, I don't get this feeling like, oh, it felt really moussey, really light. Something that feels really light is actually from the Tarte Sugar Rush line. They have this product called Skin Treat, and it's a really, really light and airy and a very different feel. I've always talked about like it's the modern take on Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. It's light, it's whipped, and it really covers nicely and gives more of a matte look to the skin. This really just feels like traditional medium coverage foundation to me. Like, I'm not coming away thinking, oh my gosh, it's so different. Like, they've really reinvented the wheel with this one. Not so much. And you pair this with a fuller coverage concealer, and you're probably going to be really satisfied with the way your skin looks. Like, for me, I can tell it's even gone over some redness redness actually really well. But yet I'm just not totally shocked and amazed by it, okay? Sometimes maybe that's not the most exciting and wonderful review to receive, but it's kind of here for me, okay? I'm gonna use my Maybelline Superstay Activewear. This is definitely a newer concealer, but I didn't get it in this haul. You've seen me use this before. I'm gonna put a couple dots of this right in here. This is a super thin concealer from their Superstay range, and I've used it on and off and had good results. I'm gonna take my bigger brush, the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush that I used for foundation, and I'm kind of dabbing just over a broad surface area with this, and then I can go in with something a little smaller and pinpoint. To me, this is more lightweight feeling on the skin compared to an e.l.f. Camo concealer, so if you've had that desire, you might like this. But in addition, I feel like it's a little lighter coverage too. Sorry, this eye, the corner of this eye, it felt a little irritated when I put my contact in today, and now it looks kind of reddish in the corner. Didn't feel irritated until the contact went in. I'm not sure what that's about. But there we are, all blended in, so I've added some coverage around the nose, which, like I said, didn't need too much, but around the eyes, things look a little brighter, more even. For powder, I'm gonna pull out a thing that I used to be just obsessed with, and I just kind of want to rediscover it. It's the Laura Mercier Translucent Pressed. I've always thought the pressed version of her famous translucent powder was even more handy and just really easy to use. Gives you the same effect as her loose powder, but just the ease of having a little pressed compact. So I'm using that to set my under eye and my T-zone. Just doing little pressing motions, almost as though I was using a powder puff and I was just pressing. You know, the way I'm choosing to use my brush is sort of just a little pressing motion. This is my e.l.f. Small Tapered brush. Sometimes it's not really all about the tool, but it's about the manner in which you choose to use it. You know, like if you choose to go into a powder and use a powder brush and just really lightly let it just like rest on the skin, you know, you're gonna get one kind of effect. When you very deliberately press it into the skin in certain areas, you get another effect. So what I did feel honestly pretty dewy is feeling a little more just like natural skin-like finish rather than overly dewy. And I think this foundation does add a little hydration. They say 24-hour hydration, but I think the majority of the hydrated feel from my skin was coming from that primer. Okay, now for a little bronzer. Another thing that kind of comes under the category of new-ish, but I didn't get it in this haul, my Physicians Formula Butter Coffee bronzer. I adore this bronzer. A great satin finish. There was a little overspray. I'm leaving that just to remind myself that yes, there was a golden overspray that literally went away the first time I used it. It was just very, very light, so at least if it was going to be there, it wasn't super stubborn. What's left behind is just the most beautiful satin finish bronzer. Great tone, looks really natural on the skin, and I also love the way this product smells. January, you guys, what's going on? Almost getting into the middle of January. When I took down my Christmas wreaths around the house, I definitely left up a few of my little garlands. Like, I have one that looks so just year-round appropriate in my, we call it the fireplace room. The kids have like a little play table in there, but it has kind of like this burlap twisty kind of thing, and there are these little, I would say smallish, delicate lights within it, and I'm probably gonna leave that one up for a long time, but when I turn those on in the evening, you know, it gives a little feeling of, oh, okay, this place isn't just totally barren now. And I left my TV garland up, and just, you know, stuff that makes me feel more winter vibes than Christmas, I suppose. And some of my garlands around, I had, like this year, really blinged them out with some extra ornaments I hooked on, and I twisted some ribbon around different sections. And once you take all that off, you know, you still, if you like your garland, you still have something you could keep up, but without all the Christmassy vibe. Or you can just splash Valentine's Day all over it. Bronzer is on. I'm loving the way it's looking. And here is something new that I got from my little Ulta haul. I'm diving into Persona big time. I love this brand. The palette was so good. Like, I can't get over how good that Identity 1 palette was. So you're gonna say I got another eyeshadow palette from them, but I also wanted to try a blush. This is called Super Blush, and I chose, instead of getting my usual like rosy choice, I chose the peach option. This is called Georgia, and I think it was because there was a deeper skin model shown with it and it seemed to still be showing up. So I thought, okay, maybe that's like a serious peach here. And you know, I haven't worn a ton of peach blush lately, so let's get back into it. Look at this. This is so pretty. Oh, like it really shows. Like that's a pretty intense peach. I wasn't quite expecting that. It's pigmented. So beautiful. What's the finish on it really? It seems overall pretty matte. If there's a satin finish, you gotta put it under a microscope to find it, I think. Look at that pigmentation. So again, that's Georgia from Persona Cosmetics. Such nice quality. I mean, this isn't a brand that has a ton of products, but what I've tried has been really nice. I mean, I just kept running the brush over my cheeks and things just kept getting more and more intense. I'm gonna use my little strips of highlight here from Undone Beauty. This is kind of a fun brand that's on Ulta. I've done a full video on them. I'm gonna use the top part of this highlight. It's intense. I kind of forgot how intense it was. Buff, 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 baby. Really gleaming glow there. But as you can see, it's a big old pan of product, and you can go like 4 distinct different directions that my brush can definitely fit in, or you can just sort of blend around. If there's anything left on the brush, I'm just kind of swirling it up, sort of taking above the brow and going right up there, because that's kind of where the head comes, you know, out. And it gives you a little more look of dimension, I think. Maybe a little bit can come right here, or a lot bit. It's okay, we blend. So pretty. Check out the surface of the skin right now. From the moment that blush hit my cheeks, I'm like, this is gonna be a great look. It does not matter what you think specifically about what's underneath. That blush is just boom. Wet n Wild Natural Finish Setting Spray. Doesn't change my look too terribly much, but I do think it helps with the staying power. Next up, I'm just going to do a quick brow with my Revlon Color Stay Brow Creator and my Brow Fast Sculpt. Emily Award winners, nothing new, not the stars of the show in this video. Just going to do their work. So for any of you who follow me also on my TikTok, I'm trying in the new year to do 1 TikTok a week. So I did one last week and it was trying on my top 5 favorite Maybelline Superstay matte ink crayons. Yeah, we start with something safe. I already have a few TikToks up. Actually, my one where I was sharing my Clinique Black Honey dupe, that had a ton of views. But what would you like to see on there? Would you like me to sit down and do like a fast face of makeup? Do you like the lip try-ons or some kind of quick try-on, or like top 5 kind of video? Let me know. If you're on there and you absorb a lot of TikTok content, what do you like to see? Okay, so I've gotten my brows totally filled and I'm just using my little spoolie. I think this evens out what you put in because you've gone over a lot of hairs, so this makes it more evenly applied. We pick up Brow Fast Sculpt, use that little end that has more of like the longer brush bristles. That applies less product, but it still gives you hold. And it kind of lets those hairs stand up and fluff up a bit. I'm really glad we're in the fluffy brow phase of life. If the trend goes skinny again, I'm just not going with it, okay? I don't like looking back at those old college pictures and seeing what I did to my brows. Next, I'm going to put on my Milani Eyeshadow Primer. I gotta tell you guys, like, I've played with this. I've given this Milk Hydro Grip Eye Primer its fair shot, and I know they say it could be an under eye primer too. Maybe I'll give it a chance more in that respect, to be continued. But on the eyelids, it cannot hang. It's inconsistent. Milani Eyeshadow Primer, day in, day out, says I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna do what you expect of me. Just don't use too much, you know? Just a little bit all over the lid, through the crease. And it's moments like this where Em says, I really need to do my nails. And then it's moments like 8 o'clock in the evening where she thinks, I really don't have the energy. So in true haul spirit, I will show you what I got eyeshadow palette wise. You already saw the Nabla side by side get used. I'll show you if you missed the last video. This is the side by side nude palette, and this was one of the most recommended things when I said, what brands am I missing out on? What should I try? I asked on Instagram, and I got so many answers for this brand, Nabla, and it's a beautiful palette that kind of reminds me of the first Urban Decay original Naked palette. But also, I saw this Ultimate Queen palette from NYX, and I just feel like some brands are making me eat my words when I say, like, I'm not really into big eyeshadow palettes. I like it a little more pared down. Well, yeah, I do, but some big palettes are still good, like the ColourPop Gone Matte. Love it. That's just kept getting better and better for me. It's a thoughtful layout. It's a really good spread, a good balanced spread of shades. But then I saw this Ultimate Queen, and granted, they've got you covered because they've put together, I want to say, 2 other sizes of this, like a more condensed and then just an even smaller option too. So you can't really complain and be like, I didn't want it so big. Well, they had other options. By the way, look at these Queen like leopards. Do we love them? I do. Every time I pull out this palette, I'm like, that's so awesome. The color scheme is just undeniably me. I love the warmth. I love the plumminess down in the bottom. I feel like the camera's washing it out slightly, as in making everything seem just a little lighter than it actually is. But can you see some of the shimmer finish in there? I feel like we're dealing with some overlap in this one. You know, like some shades that are just incredibly close, closer than absolutely necessary. But I've used it a couple times, done some looks that I really enjoyed the heck out of, so I can't say I don't like the palette. I don't think it really had to be that big, okay? It could have still been a big palette, but not been that big. But I do like the tones. I like that I can come back to a nice dark plum or, you know, dark brown with the look, but there's some pretty shimmers as well. The other thing I got was the Identity 2 palette from Persona. I was so impressed with the Identity 1, which is, you know, neutral, easy, basic. So I went ahead and got this, and this is what I'm going to use today for my look. I've already done kind of a rosy look with it, so I'm going to choose some of the other colors. I mean, we're dealing with jewel tones here, I feel. We've got like an emerald, we've got this blue, so many options, but yet it's not that big. You know, it's 12 shades. It's very manageable. I'm first going to take the shade called Loyal right here and use that to go into my crease. I just love the texture of these shadows. They're soft, they're pigmented. The shimmers that I worked with in my rosy look were just completely stunning. This is just the perfect set up the crease kind of shade here. I'm kind of feeling like doing some green on the lid, but first I'm going to add a little bit more to the crease. I'm going to use the shade called Passionate, this pretty rose. It's not going to come off as purely rose because we're going over a light brown, but just add a little more to my crease. It's a little more rich than the first shade. Pretty, right? And then this is a Profusion brush I don't reach for that much, but it's the ES3, and it's about the same fluffiness level as the last one, but this one has that pinched in top that makes it more like side to side crease friendly. This one, highlight the brow bone, whatever. I'm using Kind. This is a matte cream. Next up, we're going to take Driven. So I haven't used this shade before, but this is the dark kind of emerald green, and it's a shimmer finish, so I'm giving it a little bit of a swipe to just help it lay down nicely off of my brush. Well, sorry, the camera got out of focus and really dark. I used the smear for it, sorry. I'm going to use this over most of my lid. My friends, those of you who don't use a lot of color, like, what a pretty way to incorporate some in a very not scary, not too loud way. Think of jewel tones, you know, think of the rich take on different colors. I think that's stunning. And these shimmers are so like, there's nothing crazy about these shimmers. Okay, you're not going to go find one and say it's like flaky and can't be controlled and, you know, they threw in a real oddball. No, they're all like, even though I haven't used all these, I can tell what the texture is all about with it. So there's that beautiful green. I'm going to let it just come a bit further because I want some overlapping to happen. I want to bring in on the inner corner, whoops, this shade called Honest. It's kind of like a pinky, peachy, like little bit iridescent. It doesn't come off quite as white as that swatch might have made it look, but a little bit of that right in here coming up to meet the green might be pretty. That's neat. I like it. Okay, so the slightly warm crease, the green, the little pinky pearlescent light pop there. I am not seeing one bit of fallout on the cheeks. Now, was I being careful? Yeah, generally speaking, I am careful, but it wasn't giving me any struggle. Then we assess the look and think, does anything else need to go into that crease? Like maybe I want to take a little bit more of Driven, but with a different kind of brush. This is my small pointed brush. And just really get it in there. Make sure everything's really blended. Oh, it goes on just so easy. These shadows kind of remind me, you know, of Sydney Grace from what I tried from the Tintalia palettes. Beautiful texture, giving you shades where it's like, okay, that could give me trouble, you know, but it doesn't because it's just so easy to blend and work with. A little bit of blend over the edge, and just because I don't want to lose that kind of interesting warmth we started with, it's coming back, passionate just a little bit more. Right over that edge. Isn't that nice? Love it. Love my little green eye for a Monday morning. Yes. Nice. It's kind of making me want to leave all the focus right there on top of the lid as opposed to going down beneath with anything. I will line. I'm going to use my Epic ink. I've just kind of been committed to really using this up, but something kind of funny happened because this is a brush tip, and apparently at one point when I closed it, I caught a couple of the little brush hairs, and they're sort of like crazy. They're wild hairs. So, but if I turn it just so, it doesn't matter. But it's still just got so much juice in it that I don't want to throw it away. I'm just going to go across my upper lash line. Nice and easy. No wing today. Usually my decision to wing or not to wing comes precisely in the moment as I'm going across the lash line. Unless it's a very specific look that I'm going for, kind of just, as Bub and I would say, we audible it. Because this eye is looking oddly red in the corner, I'm going to apply some lightness to the lower inner rim. Try to say, hey, don't pay attention to that. You've got a light lower inner rim here. This is my ABH double-ended pencil in the Matte Camille Sand Shimmer shade. I would highly recommend it. Next up, I'm just going to pop on some mascara. I have nothing like brand new from Ulta to show you there, so I'm going to take care of the lash. I'll be right back. So I just put on my Essence Lash Princess, the Curl and Volume one up top. See if I can get into focus and show you. That's what's there. And then I went ahead and used my Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes, just because that has been so reliable for me lately, and that is a Sephora product actually. Now for lips, the Persona haul continues. I tried one of the E-Balms. It's in just this nice clean white packaging. It says E-Balm on it, and I got the shade called Gratitude. These appear to be a very soft stick, so they're appropriately packaged in, you know, the tube that really hugs the bullet all the way up. I can tell on the inside like something has either gotten melty or just a little bit broken within there, so it's nice that we have this tube hugging the stick really well. And it also, like, it clicks up and then it goes up smoothly, so there's a little something going on maybe in the composition of this tube. But either way, I can get the stick up and use it, and this is like a tinted balm. It's very hydrating. I used this for a couple days straight when I had just the driest of the dry lips. And it's kind of this nutty brownish nude color. See what I mean? Like, I like it with this look, the peach cheek and kind of that peachy warmth coming out from the crease. I think that looks super appropriate here. I might come back to this shade for today, but it's smooth, very hydrating, not incredibly thick. There is a thinness here, so the staying power isn't great, but I think even after it wears down, you can still feel, because I've worn this like all throughout days, and I feel like even when the visible color wears off, you still feel like your lips have had a nice hydrating treatment. So it's a nice product. Again, I do like that color, but I have a few other things to show you. Milani, their matte lipstick line. They have that whole super popular nude matte range, and now they've released some colorful shades. So there's not a whole lot of them. I want to say, was there 6 total? I'll correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong, but I just chose 3 of them that I thought would be good, and I thought I'd try them all on for you today. Sometimes the tube can be a little deceiving. Like, I don't feel like these couple of shades are quite as pink as they look on the tube, but you'll see. Okay, so here's the lightest one. It's called Peony. See how much more muted it seems to be than the tube? Now, just like the neutral ones, these are all matte. Smooth matte application. I mean, if I had to choose a matte to like go with for life, I would obviously choose the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink Crayons. Those really set in place. I mean, very reliable staying power, great shade range from nude to colorful as well. But these are nice too, you know, these are fine. They're just a little lighter on the staying power. But as far as a matte lipstick goes, I remember when you could count on, if it was a matte lipstick that you were buying, it was gonna have some drag across the lips. It was gonna be dry, kind of heavy, kind of skipping. Not at all with these. You know, these go on really beautifully. This shade I think is absolutely lovely. It's called called Peony. It's a soft kind of nudie pink. Next up, in comparison to that tube, we've got this one called Petal. So let's try this on. Ooh, rosiness. You know I love a good just classic rosy lip. Keep in mind I said rosy, I didn't say dusty rose. Dusty rose would be deeper, a little more neutral. This is a rosy pink. I think that's lovely. I really think that's kind of fun. That's not always a shade I reach for super often, but gosh, I do love it. It completely reminds me of the rose ink shade I applied in the last video where I was like, oh, it kind of looks like naturally pigmented rosy lips. Maybe a little more full-on color with this, a little bit brighter, but really a similar vibe. So again, that one's called Petal. The other one I picked was the red in the collection, and this is called Poppy. And this one I have not tried on yet, so we're in for a treat. I really like the way the bullet is cut. It's very nicely shaped for precision. It does not get more classic red than that, my friends. I mean, it's not too warm. It's not too cool. Again, an enjoyable matte lipstick, absolutely. I think you'll like the way those go on. They're not like old matte lipsticks of days gone by, you know. They're smooth, they're nice. I've really enjoyed some of the nudes. I had that video a while back where I used the shade called Passion as both like a lip and a cheek. You know, there's some versatile products. What am I gonna wear all day today? I think I'm gonna go with Peony, actually. There is definitely some moisture in these because for me to be able to try on 3, boom, 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 and my lips don't feel bad at all. There's some nice creaminess here. Here's my finished look. I feel like it's very fresh, very pretty. I'm gonna keep playing with my Power Grip Primer and my Shape Tape Cloud, although to me, this is just a real standard foundation. When I use this, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, if I didn't try this, I'd really been missing out on a unique texture. To me, it feels like very classic medium coverage foundation. Okay, they gave it the name Cloud. Is it lighter than some things? I guess, relatively speaking, yes, but does it have anything really unique going on there? To me, I'm not really seeing it. So it's all right, but if you got a lot of foundations, you got some you're happy with, I mean, I don't think you need to rush out for it. The Power Grip Primer so far, I think, seems to behave a lot like the hard candy one that I already have raved on, so it might be a situation where either or is fine. I'm going to continue playing with this though to be sure. Big takeaway here is I loved Persona Cosmetics already and now I'm continuing to love them. This was like the original brand I was behind on, okay? This was the brand that kind of made me think about what else am I missing out on and prompted that whole video because I tried the Persona, the first Identity palette and thought, oh my gosh, this is great. Went out and got the second one, got the blush. I mean, I love these products, probably my top ones. I like the e-balm too. Some of the best stuff in the video, honestly. The Milani lipsticks are fun. This is sort of your heads up that if you were wanting something more than just nudes from that range, now they have them. They're really nice, soft feeling, creamy matte lipsticks that stay kind of creamy feeling. The Superstay matte inks will give you better staying power, but these are still nice lipsticks, all right? So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.